I attribute my success to this. I never gave or took any excuse. The greatest heroes are those who do their duty in the daily grind of domestic affairs, whilst the world whirls as a maddening dreidel. The world is put back by the death of every one who has to sacrifice the development of his or her peculiar gifts to conventionality. Sick children, if not too shy to speak, will always express this wish. They invariably prefer a story to be told to them rather than read to them. Why do people sit up so late, or, more rarely, get up so early? Not because the day is not long enough, but because they have no time in the day to themselves. Live your life while you have it. Life is a splendid gift. There is nothing small in it. 100 struggle and drown in the breakers. One discovers the new world, but rather, 10 times rather, die in the surf, heralding the way to that new world, than stand idly on the shore. I think one's feelings waste themselves in words. They ought all to be distilled into actions, which bring results. The martyr sacrifices themselves entirely in vain. Or rather, not in vain, for they make the selfish more selfish, the lazy more lazy, the narrow narrower. It may seem a strange principle to enunciate as the very first requirement in a hospital that it should do the sick no harm. Were there none who were discontented with what they have, the world would never reach anything better. How very little can be done under the spirit of fear. Wise and humane management of the patient is the best safeguard against infection. So never lose an opportunity of urging a practical beginning, however small. For it is wonderful how often in such matters the mustard seed germinates and roots itself. Let us never consider ourselves finished nurses. We must be learning all of our lives. Nursing is an art, and if it is to be made an art, it requires an exclusive devotion, as hard a preparation as any painter's or sculptor's work. For what is the having to do with dead canvas or dead marble, compared with having to do with the living body, the temple of God's Spirit? Life is a hard fight, a struggle, a wrestling with the principle of evil, hand to hand, foot to foot. Every inch of the way is disputed. The night is given us to take breath, to pray, to drink deep at the fountain of power. The day, to use the strength which has been given us, to go forth to work with it till the evening. Starting a job and working hard is how to be successful. Unnecessary noise is the most cruel abuse of care which can be inflicted on either the sick or the well. A human being does not cease to exist at death. It is change, not destruction, which takes place. Our first journey is to find that special place for us. There is no part of my life upon which I can look back without pain. We set the treatment of bodies so high above the treatment of souls, that the physician occupies a higher place in society than the schoolmaster. I stand at the altar of murdered men, and while I live, I fight their cause. For it may safely be said Not that the habit of ready and correct observation will by itself make us useful nurses, but that without it, we shall be useless with all our devotion. Never underestimate the healing effects of beauty. For the sick, it is important to have the best. Apprehension, uncertainty, waiting, expectation, fear of surprise do a patient more harm than any exertion. I am not yet worthy, and I will live to deserve to be called a trained nurse. Nursing is a progressive art, such that to stand still is to go backwards. Unless we are making progress in our nursing every year, every month, every week, take my word for it, we are going back. At present, we live to impede each other's satisfactions. Competition, domestic life, society. What is it all but this? Heaven is neither a place nor a time. Asceticism is the trifling of an enthusiast with his power, a puerile coquetting with his selfishness or his vanity, in the absence of any sufficiently great object to employ the first or overcome the last. No woman has excited passions among women more than I have, yet I leave no school behind me. The great reformers of the world turn into the great misanthropists, if circumstances or organization do not permit them to act. Woman has nothing but her affections, and this makes her at once more loving and less loved. By mortifying vanity, we do ourselves no good. It is the want of interest in our lives that produces it. By filling up that want of interest in our lives, we can alone remedy it. Women should have the true nurse calling. The good of the sick first, the second only the consideration of what is their place to do. And that women who want for a housemaid to do this, or the charwoman to do that when the patient is suffering, have not the making of a nurse in them. What cruel mistakes are sometimes made by benevolent men and women in matters of business about which they can know nothing and think they know a great deal. Let whoever is in charge keep this simple question in her head. Not, how can I always do this right thing myself? But, how can I provide for this right thing to be always done? May we hope that when we are all dead and gone, leaders will arise who have been personally experienced in the hard, practical work, the difficulties, and the joys of organizing nursing reforms, and who will lead far beyond anything we have done.